Here's a conversation reflecting on Chapter 19, Epilogue.
So let's dive into this. We're exploring Mark Firehammer's work from the lens that changes everything.
Yeah.
And the whole mission here is to get our heads around this one really profound idea, which is that we don't need new answers. We just need, well, a new way of seeing. He uses that beautiful quote, "The real voyage of discovery consists not in seeking new landscapes, but in having new eyes."
And that quote, it just immediately reframes everything for the listener, doesn't it?
It really does.
Because we're so conditioned to internalize our struggles, the burnout, the loneliness, as some kind of personal failure.
Right, like I'm not trying hard enough.
Exactly. But what this material suggests is that this strain, it's not about a lack of effort, it's the result of this shared structural thing he calls civilizational conditioning.
We're all wearing the same old pair of scratch glasses.
We are, and we don't even know it.
That distinction, structural versus personal, that feels massive.
It is.
Suddenly you realize millions of people feel the exact same way, not because they're all uniquely flawed, but because they inherited the same faulty lens. So where did it come from?
Well, he calls this the great misunderstanding.
Okay.
And it led to what he calls the myth of separateness. See, civilization took a shortcut. Not out of malice, necessarily, but for efficiency.
What kind of shortcut?
It valued things like control and obedience, which meant it had to convince us that these essential human operating systems, like creativity, deep cooperation, embodied awareness, that they were optional.
Just luxuries.
Luxuries, exactly. Things to be suppressed. So the system made progress by convincing us we succeed alone when we're just not wired that way.
But wait, if the problem is structural, then doesn't that make most of the solutions we hear every day feel kind of inadequate?
That's the core critique. The whole self-help industry often operates downstream.
It focuses on behavior.
Right. But if the real challenge is the structure, the lens itself, then just changing your behavior is exhausting. It's a temporary fix.
So you're always fighting the current.
Always. If you trace the chain, it's clear. The lens creates the beliefs, which shape your thoughts, which become your deeds, and those determine your outcome.
Okay, can you walk us through an example of how that works? Make it concrete?
Yeah, absolutely. So the lens tells you, for instance, that success demands isolation and constant striving. That's the belief.
I have to work harder than everyone else.
Right, that's the thought. So the deed is working until you're completely burned out, and the outcome is disconnection. So you try to fix the burnout with, a self-care routine.
But you're not fixing the source.
You're fixing the symptom. The source is the lens telling you that isolation is a prerequisite for being worthy in the first place.
Wow. Just that sense of relief, knowing you can stop running.
Yeah.
And that's maybe the biggest takeaway.
I think so.
So if the myth of separateness is the problem, what's the counter lens?
He introduces it as all one thing. And it's not just, some poetic, philosophical ideal.
Biological.
It's biological. It's evolutionary. When we feel safe and seen, our nervous systems literally co-regulate with others. Connection isn't a nice to have. It's biological fuel.
Which brings us to the ultimate goal here, which isn't correction. It's not improvement.
Not at all.
Nothing in this material is asking you to become someone new.
Yep.
The focus is just reorientation.
And when that lens shifts, all the strain that felt so intensely personal, it just reveals itself as unnecessary. That urgency to optimize your life, it suddenly feels optional.
Right.
We stop striving to be more, and we just start reclaiming what was suppressed. He calls it returning to the body, to creativity, to connection.
The essential operating systems that civilization said were inconvenient.
Except,
I think the ultimate relief in all this is that clarity does not hurry. It settles. For anyone listening, you are not late. You are not broken. And you don't need to become more to start living differently.
And if repairing the culture really begins with repairing the lens, it leaves us with a pretty important question, doesn't it?
What's that?
What small shift in your own perception, away from needing to fix yourself and towards simply seeing where you already stand, what if that could make you an anchor point for the next version of humanity? That's something to carry forward.
Thanks for listening. This conversation marks the end of the book, but not the end of the work it points to. If you're curious how this lens is being explored in lived, shared ways, through conversation, creativity, and practice, you're welcome to visit the Creative Humanity Alliance. If not, that's fine too. The lens doesn't require anything from you. It only changes what you notice when you're ready.